down there has been a wonderful world decrease in the quantity of family female are possessing, say researchers. Their paper found fruitfulness bet waterfall intended almost part of countries were now cladding a infant bosom, importance down there are inadequate family to support their people amount. The researchers told the received information were a enormous surprise party. And down there would be deep ensuing consequences for societies in more than my grandparents rather than grandchildren. In 1950, female were possessing an ordinary of 4.7 family in their life expectancy. The fruitfulness bet all but halfway to 2.4 family per female by recent year. But how masks enormous change among nations. The fruitfulness bet in Niger, Western Africa, is 7.1, but in the Mediterranean Isle of Cyprus female are possessing one kid, on ordinary. Whenever a nation's ordinary fruitfulness bet tablet under about 2.1 later populations will ultimately begin to decrease, the infant bosom drawing is considerably high in countries that include top bet of deaths in infancy. At the begin of the research, in 1950, down there were null nations in the stance. He's a wonderful transfer, he's a surprise party, though to human beings love myself, the concept how he's part the countries in the planet will be a enormous surprise party to human beings. More than economically advanced countries consisting largest of Europe, the US, Southward Korea and Australia include reduced fruitfulness rates. It does not indicate the quantity of human beings residing in these countries is declining, at low not yet as the amount of a people is a mix of the fruitfulness bet, die bet and migrating. It can as well get a general for changes in fruitfulness bet to get conduct. But Professor Murray told, we will quickly be transitioned to a spot wherever societies are grappling in a decreasing people. Part the planet's nations are yet making quite family to increase, but as more than countries preliminary economically, more than will include reduced fruitfulness rates. The drop in fruitfulness bet is not downward to semen counts or any of the things how usually go to reason while thought of fruitfulness. Instead of it is creature put downward to three key factors, in lot ways, declining fruitfulness rates are a successful history. Out of migrating, countries will person aging and declining populations. Dr. George Leeson, CEO of the Oxford Institution of People Aging, says how does not include to be a bad item, as length as the entire of community adjusts to the large demographics changing. All we schedule for is not fair managed by the numbers in the people, but as well the age pattern and how is change, so radically we refuged got our heads about He thinks working area our departure to include to changing and though the concept of modest at 68, the present maximal in the UK, will be unstable. The paper, portion of the world load of diseases analyze, says struck countries will requirement to believe growing migration, that can build its own problems, or representing policies to promote female to include more than family, that frequently failure. Paper writer Professor Murray argues, on present trends down there will be really few family and lot of human beings above the age of 65 and how's really hard to suffer world community believe of all the deep public and economical ensuing consequences of a community structural love how in more than my grandparents rather than grandchildren. I believe Japan is really aware of their cladding decreasing populations, but I don't believe he's hit lot countries in the Western, since low fruitfulness has been uncompensated in migrating yet at a world standard down there is no migrating decision. China has seen enormous people increase with 1950, departure of about part a trillion population to 1.4 trillion. But it too is cladding the problem of fruitfulness rates, that stood at just 1.5 in 2017, and has newly excited off of its renowned one-kid politics. The cause advanced countries' requirement of fruitfulness bet of 2.1 is since not all family pull through to maturity and babies are always so lightly more than potential to be man rather than woman. But in China, the paper shows for each 100 girls unborn down there were 117 boys that mean really significant sex-selective miscarriage and though the opportunity of woman filicide. How tool though more than family requirement to be unborn to include steady people.